The midday sun beat down on the base gates as a lone woman approached, her boots dusty, her jacket plain, her stride steady but unassuming. She carried no rank insignia, no visible ID, just a folded document in her hand and the quiet authority of someone who had seen more than she'd ever say. "Ma'am, you can't pass," one of the young guards called out, stepping in front of her. His tone was polite but firm. The others followed his lead, rifles slung and eyes narrowed. To them, she was just another civilian who'd wandered too close to a restricted zone. The woman stopped, studying the faces before her. She smiled faintly, not with arrogance but with a patience born from years of being underestimated. "Is that so?" she asked softly. "Then I suppose I'll wait." What they didn't know was that by sundown, every soldier standing there would be saluting her. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." Her name was Major Elena Ward, though few outside the top circles knew her face. After years in covert operations overseas, she'd been reassigned to command this very base, one that had been struggling under disorganization, low morale, and a reputation for indiscipline. Headquarters hadn't announced her arrival yet. She'd requested it that way. She wanted to see the base through the eyes of its lowest ranks, raw, unfiltered, and honest. The guards at the gate shifted uneasily as she waited, their radios crackling with static. One of them, barely 20, muttered, "She doesn't even have clearance papers." Elena heard him, but said nothing. Instead, she looked around. The faded paint on the guard post, the sluggish gate mechanism, the way the soldiers avoided eye contact. She noticed everything. After 20 minutes, frustration began to show. One guard sighed, tapping his foot. "Look, ma'am, this is a restricted area. You'll have to move along." Elena met his gaze. "And if I told you I belonged here?" He smirked. "Everyone says that." She smiled again. "Then I suppose I'll let my work speak for itself." An hour later, the base loudspeakers crackled to life. "Attention, all personnel. New commanding officer arriving at 1400 hours. Formation requested at the main gate." The guards exchanged puzzled glances. One of them murmured, "Wait. Here?" And as the sound of approaching vehicles filled the air, 3 black SUVs rolling in tight formation, realization began to dawn too late. The young guard who'd first stopped her turned pale as the lead car halted and a colonel stepped out. He saluted crisply toward Elena. "Major Ward, the command is yours." The guards froze. The woman they had just refused entry to, the one they spoken down to, was now their new commanding officer. The courtyard went silent as word spread across the base. Soldiers hurried into formation, their movements stiff with unease. Elena walked to the center, her steps calm, her face unreadable. "Let me begin," she said, voice carrying across the ranks, "by saying thank you to the guards who stopped me today." Confused glances rippled through the crowd. "They were doing their job," she continued. "They didn't know who I was, but they followed protocol. And that," she paused, letting the silence breathe, "is what integrity looks like." The tension cracked, replaced by the faintest hint of respect. She looked toward the young guard, the same one who had told her she couldn't pass. "You," she said gently. "What's your name?" "Private Lewis, ma'am." "Private Lewis," she said. "Never apologize for doing what's right. But remember, not everyone who looks ordinary is without authority. Some carry it differently." In the days that followed, Elena transformed the base. She didn't shout, didn't threaten. Instead, she listened. To the cooks, the medics, the janitors, the rookies who felt invisible. She rebuilt morale not with fear, but with understanding. Soldiers who once slacked began showing pride again, and slowly whispers spread, the kind that travel through corridors late at night. "She's different. She leads like she remembers what it's like to follow." She earned her stripes the hard way. Even Private Lewis, once embarrassed by their first encounter, found himself inspired. She called him out one morning, this time to commend him in front of the entire unit for preventing a security breach. "A good soldier protects what matters," she said, smiling, "even from the unknown." But command wasn't just about respect. It was about testing limits. One evening, when an unexpected fire broke out near the armory, Elena was the first on the scene. No orders, no hesitation, just action. She coordinated the response like a conductor leading a symphony. Calm, precise, unstoppable. When the flames died and the smoke cleared, her uniform was covered in soot. Private Lewis stared in disbelief. "Ma'am, you could have waited for backup." She shook her head. "If I ever do, it'll be too late for someone else." Her words spread through the ranks like wildfire, a lesson in leadership that no speech could rival. Weeks later, the base held its formal ceremony to honor her official appointment. As she stood before the rows of soldiers, sunlight catching her insignia, she looked toward the gate where it had all begun. The same guards now stood at attention, chins lifted, eyes full of something new. Pride. She turned to address them. "Every leader starts as someone standing outside the gate," she said. "The question is, when your time comes, will you recognize them?" Her voice softened, a hint of emotion breaking through her composure. Because leadership isn't given. It's seen, earned, and remembered. As the ceremony ended, the crowd erupted in applause. Elena's gaze drifted once more to the entrance, where the guards saluted her, this time not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Because respect isn't demanded, it's discovered. And kindness. It doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. The next morning, the sun rose over the same gates. A car approached. The guards straightened, ready. And before anyone could say a word, Private Lewis smiled and opened the gate. "Welcome," he said. "We've been expecting you." If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes true leaders earn respect through action, not rank. Tell us where you're rewatching from. We love hearing from every corner of the world. Whispered Words, where every mission tells a human story.